Let's turn our attention to the United States, where Donald Trump's created a bit of controversy over his intention or his wish to buy Greenland. Here he was talking about the Danish Prime Minister and the fact that he's now cancelled a trip to or a meeting with her.
Denmark, I looked forward to going, but I thought that the Prime Minister's statement that it was absurd, it was an absurd idea, it was nasty. I thought it was an inappropriate statement. All she had to do is say, no, we wouldn't be interested, but we can't treat the United States of America the way they treated us under President Obama. I thought it was a very not nice way of saying something.
We've got our US expert Bruce Wolpe with us. Bruce, what on earth is happening on this particular story? I mean, buying Greenland, it sounds crazy.
It's true, and less diplomatic language from the president than from the deputy prime minister that we just saw. Obviously, Trump has been thinking about the United States acquiring Greenland for some time and has been testing it out. I don't think it was at all communicated securely or properly with the government of Denmark or the people of Greenland. And it was also obvious, if you step back and look at it, there was no way that Greenland could be acquired by the United States or the people of Denmark and government would support it. And so when the president feels that he's been dissed in this instance by the Prime Minister of Denmark calling the proposal absurd, well, he struck back. He's not visiting Denmark, and he obviously has put them low on the totem pole as far as U.S. allies are concerned, notwithstanding the concord in NATO and how the two countries have worked together, and that the U.S. has a very important strategic base in Greenland, which is very helpful as far as the Arctic and Russia and so forth are concerned.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the message is just don't have a crack at the president.
I don't want to pay attention to you anymore. That's the message. And enjoy whatever future you have, but I'm not going to be a part of it. It's sort of a shame because Denmark and the United States have a centuries-long history, and it's rich and it's important, but he's alienated the entire population of that country.
It did seem to come out of the blue, the whole idea of buying Greenland. But anyway, let's put that to one side. The guns issue, he made some comments on that on the South Lawn at the White House when he spoke to the media a couple of hours ago as well. What did you read into those?
After the massacres in the United States, there was a real feeling that something would be done. And in fact, whenever public officials appeared in Ohio and in Texas, they would be surrounded by people saying, do something. And that something was, at the least, greater background checks to keep guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them. And Trump indicated great sympathy with it. But over time, as it did previously, like 2 years ago in Florida, after the Parkland High School massacre, he ultimately just kind of backed down from a strong position of doing something. And the key to that is his relationship with the National Rifle Association. He has spoken several times with Wayne LaPierre, the CEO of the NRA, and that has had quite an impact. You referred to LaPierre as Wayne today on the South Lawn and how they've spoken, and he also spoke more about his support for the Second Amendment. The bottom line is nothing on legislation is going to happen. There is one interesting political implication of this, aside from the frustration of people who want to do something on guns in America, and that is in Ohio and Texas, Republican voting states, where people are upset about these things. They may do some things at the state level, but it could really shift the political balance in those states against Republicans and against Trump next year. So that'll be something to watch as to how sentiment evolves in those two states.
Let's play the comments that he made in relation to the guns, and I'll get you to react to one particular part of that in a moment. Let's have a look.
Oh, I have an appetite for background checks. We're going to be doing background checks. We're working with Democrats. We're working with Republicans. We already have very strong background checks, but we're going to be filling in some of the loopholes, as we call them.
So he says he's willing to close loopholes. So some action, but you're not convinced that amounts to anything substantive?
It doesn't amount to anything legislative which would be substantive. And the closing of loopholes, as he says, is really, he's focused on the argument of mental health. He thinks that's the problem. Mental health causes people to shoot guns as opposed to the availability of guns to all kinds of people. And so that's going to be his focus. But it is insufficient to meet or encounter the political mood that is growing for something to be done on guns so that Kieran, we're going to be sitting here another morning sometime soon. There'll be another massacre, and we will replay this entire debate again.
And just finally, the other comment which really jumped out at me from his media appearance there at the White House was this one. Let's have a look and then get you to pick up.
They want to take away foreign aid to Israel. They want to do a lot of bad things to Israel. In my opinion, you vote for a Democrat, you're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel. And only weak people would say anything other than that.
Well, Bruce, he is very popular in Israel, that's for sure.
He is very popular in Israel, and he's very popular among some Jews who support Jewish Americans, who support the Republican Party and so forth. But he's playing a very divisive political card here, and essentially saying to the Jewish community, if you're not with me, you're not loyal to Israel, you're not loyal to the United States, you're not loyal to the Jewish people. And so this has really, over the past 24 hours, since he's articulated this more forcefully, this has really caused a lot of angst in the American Jewish community, and people are worried about what it means. In other words, is the environment again being created where someone will feel that violence can be taken against the Jewish community? 2 synagogues have been attacked, with many people murdered. That violence can be taken against the American Jewish community in this mood about who is loyal and who is not loyal to the United States. This is an extremely serious issue in the political culture in America today.